Hey everyone, welcome to the Besties in the Books podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Ashley. And as she said, this is the Besties in the Books podcast. And this is our very first remote podcast. And if you know anything about doing anything remote, it's a nightmare. It's a fun nightmare, though. We're doing this together. And, we're making it work 13 hours away from each other.
Yeah, it's a journey. We're going to be working out the kinks, so we appreciate you guys being here through it all.
For sure.
First things first, I want to just make sure to remind everyone, because I've actually been getting a lot of questions about this. First 15 minutes of every single podcast are spoiler-free, even if we're talking about specific books, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
You got to get that out of the way.
I get that question too, like in person.
Yeah.
Like, well, I didn't read that book and I'm like worried about hearing too much. Like, don't worry for the first few, we'll let you know. If you like randomly jump in the middle of if you fast forward, well, I can't help you there. But if you're just listening to it through and through, we'll let you know that it's time to go. A skedaddle.
Yeah. But today, we aren't actually going to be talking about any specific books. If we do mention a little spoiler about something, we'll make sure to let you know. But today, we're going to be talking about our rating systems. But before we get into that...
Well, we want to remind you guys to make sure to please follow, like, subscribe anywhere that you like to listen to your favorite podcast at Besties in the Books podcast. We are everywhere you want to listen to podcasts. But for some of these videos specifically, you want to make sure to watch the YouTube video because we are recording this video-wise, even remotely. So if you're listening to this right now in audio, we're doing this remote video for you, everything. So any way you like to consume this content, because we just, actually the week that we're filming this, we just put out our ick video. And there was lots of pictures like inserted. You can always check out our Instagram and stuff for pictures that we talk about during the episode. But it was just so fun to like edit and
the
watch.
visual aids. The visual aids that you will get are superb. Just trust us on this one.
10 out of 10. Super
10
fun.
out of 10. 10 out of 10 recommend.
So, and then also, of course, on Instagram and TikTok at Besties in the Books.
Yes.
You know, so follow us there too. We're doing lots of polls over there. Polls are getting crazy. They're really fun. We bring it out to you guys at the end of our Smash or Pass. We let you guys vote what you would Smash or Pass to with our unhinged freaking Smash or Pass.
And they're the best. We love seeing what you guys would vote for. So please participate. But so today we're going to be going over our rating systems. Yeah. So we figured that this would be good to do earlier rather than later so that you guys have an idea of, working with a 5-star rating system. That's what we're doing. We kind of explain how we actually rate things. And then I'm going to be going over my spice scale as well. I don't know if Ashley, did you decide if you're going to do that?
I'll just do like a quick little one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So stick around if that interests you. I think that'll be pretty relevant moving forward. When we talk about obviously all the different books that we're going to be chatting about on here. But first, why don't we go over our faves and fails of the week?
Let's do that. Let's do that.
I'm
going to go ahead and let you start this one because I may or may not have remembered to write that stuff down. I did like the other categories we did, but just of the week, this week was a freaking tornado of a blur if I ever did see one. So maybe that is my fail and fave of the week. I'll just go. Okay,
just go.
Just go. My fail of the week. Okay, I have a major fail of the week, but it ended up being okay. Okay. Well, the fail is just it's just life. It's just chaos. It's just life happens. You have a set goal of the week and then that doesn't turn out. I think we can all relate to that. As for you, a business owner, for me, a mom of 2 little ones. And I have to say, okay, so for my specific fail, earmuffs for any kids listening or, sensitive souls out there regarding some fantasy creatures that we all like to have fun with in our real life. That sounds weird, but
I'm what does that mean?
So my daughter is she likes to ask me deep, thoughtful questions at the end of the night when she's maybe not computing the way she normally would. She's extra tired. So she's talking about, because we just came off of St. Patrick's Day. So there's lots of leprechaun talk and fairies and unicorns. And she just was every day, oh, this person's saying that leprechaun's evil and freaking out about that and no, it's fine, So then she said about fairies in the middle of the night. You know, not in the middle. It was 8:00 at night. We're like laying down, and she's like, well, like, and she's like on the verge of tears. She's like, my best friend told me that there's fairies that eat each other and they're evil. And I was just like, first of all, like, come on. And it's just icing on the cake to all the other things she's been throwing at me all week. And I was like, well, they're not even real, so it doesn't matter. And breakdown, scream, crying, fairies aren't real. So that was my fail in that, like, they're just for, like, I don't know, they're just fun. Like, I didn't know that she, like, had like this strong like thing, and that she thought she was a fairy and my other daughter's a fairy together, and we could all be fairies. So now I'm like breaking her life goals and hopes and dreams. So we had a long talk about it, and we ended up with like, hey, well, you know what, there's still a 1% chance that they're really good hiders, and we haven't discovered, because it's one of those things, like we talked about dragons and mermaids. It's like, it's weird that like all of these countries and continents has the same mythology. Like maybe they came from somewhere, just like, true. It's so, because she's only 8. Like, I don't want her spirit to be broken, and the magic to be gone at all. Because we're reading books about fairies and dragons and all of that stuff. That's why I told her, like, I'm an adult and I still read all that stuff. I don't care if it's not real or real, whatever. Like, have fun with it. But
like, I don't know. I feel like you almost do like a curve. Like, there's like a curve, an arc, if you will, right? Where it's like when you're little, if you're into that kind of thing, you believe in it. And then you kind of get to that age where you're like, dang, it's not real. I don't believe in it. And then I feel like if you are open-minded enough, you get to a certain point where you're like, do we really know? Yeah, that's kind of what I ended at. Like, there's that whole docuseries about mermaids. And it's like, well, how come every, like, ship, like, are mermaids this other type of creature? And, so that's what she felt good. And then she talked to me the next day. She's like, I think I was over-exaggerating. I think I was really tired. She came to me very, like, mature, just like, I'm good with where we left it. But she's like, but can I still play fairy? I'm like, you could still play fairies. Like I said, I read fairies. I do, like, all the things. Have fun. At the end of the day, who cares if they are or not? But it was my fail in that I was just so like, oh, well, don't even worry about it, because I'm just trying to shut down the evil fairy eating each other thing. I wasn't even like, so there we go.
Okay,
all right.
Yeah, it was heavy.
And you're almost ruining fantasy for your daughter. Yeah.
As like the most fantasy lover ever. We got to a good place, though, I feel.
Good.
We got to a good place.
It's fine. It'll be fine.
Earmuffs back off or whatever.
And then what was your fave then?
Fave
this week?
My other daughter, it was her 3rd birthday. So just celebrating her 3rd birthday, running around, playing, like doing that kind of fun stuff. Yeah. Just like, It's crazy. How fast she grew, but also she was kind of like born a toddler, because she was like 10 pounds almost when she was born. So, and she was like ready to go. But so it's just like that kind of weird, but it was fun. We had a good week.
3. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Your turn. Take it away.
So buckle up, because I had a good week.
Oh, let's go.
So I was thinking about this, and I was like, I can't really pick one thing, because, if you've been following along with us, I was down in LA with Ashley for a couple weeks, had this great trip. We filmed a lot of content. And then I came home, and it's always crazy when you own a business coming home, because you're basically 2 weeks behind. And then I got really sick for like 3 weeks. And so I was basically like 5 weeks behind at work, and it was like a mess. So I feel like this last week, like I finally am like feeling normal. Like not like physically I felt better for a while, but like things are normal. Like
the right kind of headspace.
Yeah.
Flow.
Yeah. And like, just getting back into like my normal routine. Like I went to Pilates. I read a few books. Like I only read like 3 books like in the whole month of February. And I like last week I read like Where's Molly? I read Twilight of Embers. I read, what else did I read? I don't know. I'm getting back into the groove of things. It feels really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just had a good week. I went on a date night with my husband. So
those are, you guys weren't flooded in?
I'm currently flooded.
Currently
flooded in. Oh no, I'm currently flooded in right now. But we'll drive through the flood as long as it's like around 2 feet or less. And so, so we went down and saw the new Ghostbusters, which I think you would like.
Oh, we're gonna see it on Friday. We're so excited.
Okay, good. Yeah, you'll like it. It's kind of like all over the place and kind of crazy.
But it's Paul Rudd, and we're ready.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So yeah, I just had a really good week. Overall, I'm feeling normal.
That's good.
But in a like extra good way. Yeah.
Yeah.
My fail of the week, dude, this was crazy. And like I'm counting it as a fail because it totally freaked me out, but like it's not, and I will die on this hill, was not my fault. So when you leave our house and you get off of like the rural roads to like go onto the 101 onto the actual highway, there is a very, very short on-ramp where it goes from basically like you feel like you need to speed up to 65, but then go all the way down to 45 before you hit the first like stoplight in town. It's man. The people who design the roads in this town, I swear. Okay, so I'm used to it though because I do it all the time. And it was like really early in the morning, so there's barely anyone on the road. So I go get on the highway, stop at that first stoplight. I'm like listening to my book. I'm chilling. I'm literally at a red light and I'm not making this up, a freaking semi truck. I didn't realize it at first because I'm just stopped at a stoplight and it's like 7:20 in the morning, right? Literally, I hear this like horn blaring. And a semi-truck, I don't know if he, like, didn't realize that you have to stop at the stoplight or what happened, but he was literally going to run me over. Stopped.
You would have been dead.
Yeah, I could have been dead. Like, all the way
down. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, trust me. Okay, so I had to go out into the intersection, like, on a red light, and like kind of to the side to avoid him hitting me. Meanwhile, he's like screeching on his brakes. There's smoke everywhere. He's like laying on his horn, probably because he just doesn't want to run me over. But I'm like, dude, seriously? Yeah, it was crazy. Ooh. This is so dramatic, but I like literally, I don't believe in God, guys. Okay. And like the I don't know, traditional sense. But after that, I was like, thank you to whoever was looking out for me in that moment that I like literally didn't die right now.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh. Gonna make me cry. Almost lost my best friend.
But then to top it all off, okay, so this was like the craziest part. I mean, obviously that was all insane. So I'm like all freaked out, but whatever. So the light turns green and I like inch my way across and like go off. I have to go to work now. I'm like on my way to work. I look in my rear view because now he's kind of like off to the side and like, you know what I mean? Like I can kind of see it better. Guess what kind of freaking semi truck it was?
I don't know. A gasoline. Like blown up.
No. The kind like in Final Destination with the freaking logs in it.
With the logs. Woo!
Yes.
The log could have went through. Ah!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so scary.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my fail of the week. Like I said, I was literally stopped. It was not my fault. Like if he would have run me over, it would have definitely been his fault. But the point is that it felt crazy and it was just the bad thing that happened this week.
Yeah, that's what a fail it is in my book. Like, dude, that's so scary. I wonder maybe he didn't realize, so that was his way of like warning you, like, or maybe he couldn't stop, maybe his brakes weren't working well. That's freaking scary. I'm glad you avoided that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm just glad, like, I was just
like, did he stop where you were parked?
You know,
would he have hit you if you didn't move?
I think it would have been probably pretty close. Oof. I don't know, but like it would have been pretty close. Like I definitely had to go forward, like where I shouldn't have had to go.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad that I was, like, paying attention enough and that, like, I didn't have music on really loud or, like, you know, I was just, like, listening to a book and it was early in the morning, so there wasn't all this other traffic noise happening, you know?
Oh, it's so scary.
Yeah, it was crazy. So anyway, moral of the story, pay attention when you're driving because sometimes even if it's not your fault, something crazy can happen.
You're driving right now listening to us, just take a quick look. Everybody's wearing their seatbelts, right? Take a quick look around. Are your intersections clear? I always like to take a moment to look before I cross intersections. So we have red light runners like crazy around here. Crazy.
Yeah.
So,
us too.
You know, there's our safety lesson for the day.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to our driving safety podcast. I have stopped literally at a stoplight before and I watched this person, they were just like in a Prius and all the lights were red, like going the way that they were going, but I was stopped like, I don't know, kind of to the side so I could like watch them drive. I watched them just cruise. They were not even going fast. They just weren't paying attention. I watched them cruise through like 1, 2, 3, just like red lights all in a row. And I was like, you are so lucky that no one hit you. And I don't even think they probably would have noticed. They probably would have just kept going. You know, just like
just flown through life, man.
Yeah, so moral of the story, listen, be careful.
Look, listen. My gosh. Oh,
yeah.
Anyways, drive safe, guys.
Yeah. So maybe that's why I had such a good week, because I'm like, I'm alive.
Yeah. Oh, praise be. My goodness.
Yeah. So anyways, on that note, happy to be alive. We should get into our review system.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
All right. So, okay, let me pull it up, because this one required, I feel like, extensive notes on my part, because I do rate and review books, and I do read ARCs, and so I just want to make sure that my rating system is actually representative of like what I'm doing. And for me, it's not all based on vibes. Like, ratings and reviews for me, like I actually like to try to look at things somewhat objectively. And I don't know if that's my like journalism background coming out or like what that is. But I really try to not just be like, it made me feel this way, and that's why I'm rating it this way. And that's not wrong if that's how you do it. That's totally fine, but that's just not my personal style. An example, I'm going to give an example of a 5-star read for me. And I try to use like examples that I've read somewhat recently. That way they're a little bit more relevant to you guys who might be reading these coming out as well. So like my last 5-star read that I read was Gold from Raven Kennedy. So that's book 5 in the Plated Prisoner series. I can't wait for you to get to that. I can't wait. It's so good.
Very soon.
So let me just pull over my iPad so I can see it a little better. Okay. So if something is a 5-star read for me, it means that it changed my life in some way. So to me, that's like the number one thing. So it either altered my perception of reality or stretched my imagination or perception.
I like that.
So yeah, so it like pushed me not necessarily out of my comfort zone, but kind of to where I really had to use my imagination or my brain in some way. And then it sticks with me after the fact. It's a book that I just can't stop thinking about for probably ever. You know what I mean? It like really sticks with me. So then the next one would be that it sets a new standard that I will then compare other books in that genre to.
Yeah.
So it set the bar at whatever level it is, this 5-star bar. So now every other book that I read in that genre, I'm going to hold to that standard, even if it's by the same author.
Yeah.
You know? So then I put, if it's fiction, it allows me as the reader to effortlessly suspend disbelief. So that's a really big one for me. I feel like if I'm reading something that's super fantastical and then there's an element that draws me out of it because it seems like it doesn't fit or the pacing is wrong or it's unrealistic in the context, that will knock it down to a 4-star for me if everything else is good. If it's nonfiction, and I felt like I definitely needed to include this, it needs to be researched well, fact-checked, and delivered authentically and ethically. So we don't talk about nonfiction a whole lot, or we haven't so far on this podcast, but I think that that's important to say because I do read a lot of nonfiction, and so those things are important for that to constitute a 5-star read for me. Yeah. And then
what would be a 5-star nonfiction that you would give?
I would say, well,
I'm just curious.
You're putting me on the spot. I have so many. Well, what I am. One of the ones that I recommend a lot that I think would be a 5-star read, and it just kind of aligns a lot with like my personal like lifestyle and values, is Quit Like a Woman. And it's about basically stopping drinking alcohol. And so I read that when I was quitting a few years ago, and it really helped me. But I felt like lots of like a very full body of research. And communicated in a way that I think anyone could really appreciate and enjoy. So I really liked that a lot. But I mean, there's a ton of options, but that would be one that would just, see, it stuck with me. You know what I mean? It sticks with you.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to put you on the spot. See what stuck with you. Yeah. I'm testing your theory.
So much pressure. Seriously though, like if you want to read a good nonfiction, that's great. But the last thing, I tried to only do about 5 points per each, rating. Yeah. So the next one would be that would be that person would become an auto by author, and they would probably become an auto recommendation in that genre. So if someone were to say, like, give me a 5-star, or, recommend something in this genre that you think is really good, they would automatically come to my mind every single time. Yeah. Like the author would, as well as like that book specifically. And then every time that author comes out with a new book, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to read it. Even if it doesn't turn out to be a 5-star, I'm probably going to read it anyway. Yeah. Or most definitely I'm going to read it anyway at some point. Mm-hmm. So that's my 5-star summation. So do you want me to go into like my 4-star, or do you want to give me your 5-star? And then we could kind of like go back and forth. What do you think would be?
Whatever you think. What do you think?
Okay.
What's your vibe?
I kind of like, I want to hear what your 5-star is. I feel like it'll help me to kind of like put mine in perspective. Pong.
Yeah. A volley. Okay. Mm-hmm. Is that what it's called in tennis too? Yeah. Volleying. Rallying. No, that's when the points are close. Anyways, points are close. They don't matter. Okay. I'm more of your vibe ladies. I'm vibe lady, but a little bit of the like analytical. So, and I very much come into my rating system thinking about others too and what people would enjoy. Like, because if I go in and I read a romance book, for example, because I don't specifically read romance, sports romance, let's say. If I'm going to go read a sports romance, I'm not going to be like 2 stars, I hated it was so cringy, because it's not my thing. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try my best to see it through the lens of people that want to pick up a sports romance book. So that's how I go based into my rating system. And that's just, I think, a background of sales and like beauty and stuff, is I try to not there's so many different books for different types of people. So when I do my descriptive review portions, I talk more about like who would be good for and not and such. So,
but just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's bad.
Right. Basically. But sometimes it is. That's when you get to the one. That's when you get to the 1 or 2 stars, right? Yeah. So for my 5-star, it's very similar. It's because I loved this book so much so that I would take time away from my giant TBR stack to read it again. I miss it. Maybe I miss the characters. Maybe I miss the vibes. Like everything about it, I loved. I don't always have to feel like groundbreaking, life-changing moment, but I have to love everything about it, you know? So there's a lot of good ones these days, but I'm also not going to give everything 5 stars, you know? Yeah. So I have to really love it. And that's something that usually I would recommend to everybody too, you know, is a 5-star. So, an example that comes to mind for a 5-star read for me, something that like I would literally, even though this is a part of series, I would pick up this one book, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury from the ACOTAR series. Because I just loved it. Like, I loved everything about it. And I liked the way it made me feel. And I liked all the things. And I don't feel like, I mean, obviously you need to read the whole series, but like I would go and pick that one up again. So that'd be a 5-star read for me.
Love it. Yep. Yes. Okay. So then, so my 4-star. So I'm kind of doing the opposite where I'm telling mine in the beginning and then explaining why. So my latest 4-star read would be Butcher and Blackbird.
Ah, that's a big popular one right now.
Weaver.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is a perfect example of a book that could have gone completely wrong for me, but because it had all the elements in my 4 stars, I actually loved it. Because it's a rom-com. It's a rom-com romance, which if you know me at all, you know that that's like the worst possible thing ever for me.
Oh yeah, I had no idea that was. That's funny.
Yeah, but it's a rom-com about 2 serial killers, though. So that's the thing.
That's pretty funny.
Okay. So I put for 4 stars, it needs to be entertaining and fully enjoyable. So check that box for sure. Good character development, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, they don't have to be super, like, in-depth where we have to know their whole history and lineage and all this stuff. The world building is good, but not as expert as a 5-star. So certain elements may draw me out of the story, but not in a way that's a deal breaker. So I might notice like, that's a little, I don't know, like maybe like 1 and 1 didn't add up till 2 in this instance, but I'm willing to overlook it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll read the sequels and I will recommend it. So 4-star, it's like, it's not, is it life-changing? Probably not. But like, did I really love it? Yeah. And it was entertaining, and I just enjoyed reading it.
Yeah, it was a good time.
So that's my 4-star. What? Yeah. It was a good time. I would highly recommend it. Pretty much for anyone who likes romance too. If you're into reading that, Butcher and Blackbird.
Good.
It's my little plug for that. Okay, so let's hear your 4-star.
So 4-star is, I liked this book. It was enjoyable. It was entertaining, but I found some stuff wrong with it. So same kind of thing. So it wasn't like a love, mind blowing, amazing. Might not read it again, like unless it was necessary, like in a reread, series or something. And oh yeah, and also with that said, I'm looking at my notes. Sorry, it's a lot to remember. Okay. Sometimes we can have 4-stars in series, and it doesn't make the series bad overall.
Oh yeah.
But like they're necessary. Sometimes it is like slow world building where it's like hard to get into. So, but it's necessary as part of the journey. So that would make it a 4 stars for me, where it's not a 5 stars, even though it's necessary. I hope that makes sense. So
yeah, no, that makes sense.
I mean, I'm thinking there's some, for my example, there's some Throne of Glass books that are more 4 stars. They're not 5 stars for me, like Throne of Glass, actually the first one. It's not like a 5-star mind blown.
Same.
I had some issues with some of the characters, but you got to do it if you're going to read it,
Yeah.
So that would be an example of the series situation.
I love that too. Yeah, you could have 4 stars in a series that ends up ultimately being a 5-star for the overall series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so my 3-star. So recently, my most recent 3-star read was Satan's Affair by H.D. Carlton, who I normally love. And so it kind of pained me a little bit to rate it 3 stars, but these are the reasons why. With a 3-star read, it means that I'm truly neutral.
Yeah.
So I'm right there in the middle. It's entertaining enough, but it's not something I would reread or recommend to anyone, really. Like, if they were to ask me, it wouldn't be one of the ones that comes up as a recommendation. It has significant plot holes or loose ends that draw a reader out of the story. It was either anticlimactic at the ending or, different, like, action points didn't really, like, have the... like, what is, like, the word I'm looking for? Like, it didn't have the impact that it should have had. And then it kind of left me unsatisfied, but not so disgruntled that I wouldn't read a sequel.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like, I didn't really love it. I didn't find that it made a whole lot of sense at times, but I wasn't so mad at it that if another one came out, I might read it or I might not.
You're like,
you know what I mean?
Maybe you'll let
like,
it
it's
change
kind of
your
like
mind.
on the fence. Yeah. And I would only recommend it if I did recommend it to someone who is specifically into that author or that genre.
Yeah.
So, like, if someone really liked H.G. Carlton, they were like, should I read Satan's Affair? I'd probably be like, okay, yeah. Give it a shot.
Because maybe you'll like it more than me or something.
Yeah. It's like, was it my favorite one that she's written? No. But you might like it. If someone were to come up to me and be like, recommend a dark romance, I wouldn't be like, read this one first before all these other ones that I would enjoy more.
Yeah.
So what about you? What's your 3-star summation?
Yeah, it's very, like, mid, very okay. It was fine. Lots of issues with it. Probably boring. Like, just maybe it was well written, but it was just not captivating enough. Maybe it was captivating, but there was a lot of grammatical issues in the way it was structured, but it was a good story, It's just kind of like mid. Too many issues. Not enough.
Too many issues.
Yeah.
Too many issues.
This book got issues, And again, same thing. Would recommend it to the right person, Yeah. So my example is Swordcatcher, which was just our book club pick in January. And that...
Which seems like yesterday, but here we are almost in April.
That's great. That's nuts. Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Swordcatcher, is a total 3 stars for me because it was just so boring, but it was so well written. And it's and maybe it's just not for me. Yeah, so people who love that author, I would say, give it a try because you're probably already used to her style. I've never read anything else from Cassandra Clare, but that's a good example to me for my 3 stars is like, it had something about it I think was good quality. Whether it be the story or the writing or something, there's a redeeming quality to it. I'm just not in love. Wouldn't read again. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
wasn't super entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
I'm like, what did I put for this? Oh, okay, so 2 stars. So you guys are going to come after me for this, which is okay. Because, you know, it's
hey,
how I feel.
Different strokes for different folks. You know?
So I rated Broken Bonds a 2 stars because it was the worst. I'm just kidding. It wasn't the worst.
No, it's a 2-star.
Obviously, because it wasn't. Yeah, it was a 2-star.
I'm giving him an extra. There you go.
So, okay. Listen.
Look.
So 2 stars means that the story lacks depth. Character development isn't good. Cohesiveness with the plot. It's not very enjoyable to read. It's just kind of all over the place, or it's boring. Mm-hmm. Same thing, where I'm just kind of like, nothing's happening. What's going on?
Yeah.
The writing itself isn't very good. It's not researched very well. So it kind of just feels like the author's just kind of making stuff up, and you're like, wait, that's not right. I hate it. Or if like happens,
something seems profound and it never comes back into play again.
Yes.
Such a missed opportunity.
Don't even bring up any Shadow and Bone stuff. We can't talk about it.
I wasn't even thinking about that this time. I wasn't, I promise. I think she meant everything she said and did in that book.
Yeah, that's true.
I was thinking of other things, actually. I was thinking of Iron Flame. Even though Iron Flame wasn't a 2-star for me, there were some things planted that we were like, and then nothing ever came of it.
I mean, but it is going to be part of a longer series, so we'll see.
Exactly.
We'll see. And then, okay, this is my big one. Characters are unlikable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind if some of the characters are unlikable, but when all of the characters are unlikable, it's like, why am I reading this?
Or like the main people you have to read about? It's like, but wait, I have to read 300 more pages of this?
I know. And then it's like a strong would not recommend. Like, it's never going to be on my list of like books I would recommend.
Yeah.
It's just not. That's how I felt about Broken Bonds. I felt like it was about nothing, and I didn't like any of the characters, and I just didn't understand. I didn't understand why so many people love it. So that's my 2-star example.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. So my 2 stars, very similar reasoning when I give 2 stars. Overall, I didn't like this book, but I didn't hate it with a passion. But I didn't like it. It might be one of those books that I'm like, okay, how much longer do I have? Oh, okay, let's keep going. Or we have to keep going. Hate is too strong of a word, but I do have feelings for it, okay? Just not good ones. I would have a hard time recommending something that's a 2-star.
Can I just interject really quick? Because you brought up a good point. Okay. My 2-star is I hated it with a passion.
Oh, interesting. I can't wait to hear what you give how you 1-star it.
Yes. I think that is a really important point. When you said that, I was like, I feel like this needs to be said. For me, the 2-star is I hated it with a passion. Is it just
that book? Or...
Well, no. It's generally, I'd say 2 stars. That's what I'm going to rate a 2-star. Okay. So anyways, continue.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. And so my example is A Court of the Vampire Queen. It was very 2-star because it was way too long and nothing was happening. But the little tiny bits that were happening, it was frustrating because I was like, I want to know more about that world building. It was very smutty mixed smut, and not in a good way. And that was like, it's a book that like frustrates me because maybe it has potential for my 2 stars and it just missed the mark completely. Yeah. So that's when I would give a 2-star. Okay. Now I want to hear your 1-star because what is something, how can you, let's go. Let's just hear it.
Okay, so, and I'll explain this more later. My 1-star is, and this is so, it's going to make me sound so mean, guys, but like, whatever. I don't care. So 1-star is like, I don't feel that this should be a book.
Oh, that's
and therefore, I am not, like, I have yet to actually rate something a 1-star because of that reason. I feel like because I feel like everyone's so different and there's something for everybody, right? So even the books that I despise, a lot of my 2-star reads that I absolutely despise and I think are lacking in a lot of the areas that I appreciate in good writing, some people love them.
Yeah.
And that's amazing, and that's what makes reading so great. A 1-star read for me is like I read an arc and there's no way this is ready to be published.
Yeah.
It's too problematic. It's full of spelling errors, grammatical errors. The plot is muddled. There are plot holes that didn't get picked up by, the alpha or beta readers. There's unlikable characters. It's unrealistic content that's not believable in the context. It's just it's like if I just wrote a book and then just tried to publish it without doing through the proper channels and proper editing.
Yeah.
And that to me would be a 1-star. And the reason why I haven't formally rated anything a 1-star is for that reason, because I'm not really here to like throw authors under the bus.
Yeah.
If an author who's super famous wrote a book of that quality, I would rate it a 1-star publicly because I would feel like they deserved it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no, it means maybe it's not a 1-star read, but right now it is.
Yeah.
And it needs to get, refined some more before it's ready.
Yeah.
So that's what my 1-star would be.
Yeah. I like that. I like that take. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Very well thought out. Good job. My 1-star is just, I hate it with a passion, and I recommend it to no one. I don't care.
You're dead
Something
to me.
about it. I hated it it had to have lacked a lot of things. You guys are gonna, this is gonna be my 1-star example. Specifically, and it was not given a 1-star until I finished the trilogy. Because because it's hard. Sometimes you don't know when you're reading it. Like, maybe this is going to help. Maybe this is going to be necessary. And so...
Take a shot if Ashley says Shadow.
It's not that one. It's number 2, Siege and Storm. Because why do we have to read all that in the middle? Take the whole middle book out. Maybe I would have felt better about this series.
No, it was pointless.
It was so
There was
pointless.
literally no point.
They're just in caves forever and nothing happens. It was so bad. It was so boring. That's like beyond boring. So that would be, I do it in jest. I didn't actually like go and deal with the what's it called? Work of actually going and reviewing and rating that one. But just like a funny example is like, for me personally, like, of course, a lot of people love the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So I don't want anybody to feel like I'm hating on them. Different strokes for different folks. But for me, as an emotional rater for a star rating, that's mine. That's mine. I don't feel good about rating this one because I DNF'd it. But just another random example, because we both love Chuck Palahniuk. And I tried 2 times to read Pygmy and got halfway through, and I couldn't. Like, I tried picking it back up, and I hated it. It was his worst book. So, but
I never even read that one, so maybe I should try it someday. And see
it
what
was
happens.
it was very disjointed, and it was hard to get into. It's a very bully kind of situation. So again, maybe I didn't fully rate it, but that like has the potential to be a 1-star for me. But again, I don't like rating things.
It would have to turn around big time.
Yeah. And that was also like 12 years ago. I could feel differently now.
Yeah.
So,
totally.
But that's that.
Okay. So our 5-star rating system, you're welcome.
There it is. There you go. Let us know if we have any similarities in you guys, the listeners.
Or if you agree or disagree with what we're saying, that's cool too. So, okay. So let's get into some spice rating. So I read a fair amount of obviously romantasy, but I also read a fair amount of romance, or what some would call smut, that has little plot. So I thought that I would also include my spice rating because I feel like that's important. And some people really like to know that going into it too.
Yeah.
So I take into account 2 elements. Like, when I was really thinking about this, I was like, how do I rate it? Because this is definitely way more, it's hard to come up with like an objective way to rate spice.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a bit more like you're flying on vibes with this one. You know what I mean? Like, in a lot of ways. So I tried to look at it like, how can I come up with a system that makes sense and that could kind of, I don't know, like span different genres? Because that's the other thing, is that it's like, if you're rating a fantasy book, you're rating it against other fantasy books. But with spice, it's like obviously going to vary depending on the type of book you're reading.
Yeah.
So I think that's also important. So, okay, this is what I came up with. And it's a little bit problematic. So bear with me because I understand that, and I don't mean this in any type of like bad way, and I'll explain what I mean.
Yeah, and just go through your whole rating. I think that'll be easier.
Okay. Then going back and forth. Yeah. Okay, so 2 things. I'll rate a book spice level based on the frequency of spicy scenes. Okay, so that's like one very easy way to look at it. Okay, so that's one part. So an example of that where there's a spicy scene every chapter, like in Court of the Vampire Queen. Was it good spice? In my opinion, not really, but like it would still be a 5 on the spicy scale because it was literally all that was happening.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So then the other element, which I think is just as important but is way more open to interpretation, is the intensity, the darkness, and the triggering nature of the spice.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference to me between, and I just put here in quotations, like unconventional, I'm doing air quotes right now, guys, like unconventional situations or things that wouldn't necessarily be considered quote unquote mainstream.
Yeah.
I think that that's important to take into account. When I say things like that, I want you guys to know that there's nothing like, as long as 2 people are consensual, I say do what you do.
Yeah.
So I don't mean that in a, when I say things like unconventional or triggering, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just I'm kind of looking at it from like if an outsider were to come in who doesn't read romance and read it, how shocked would they be by the content in that book? So for like a 5 on the spicy rating, I would say either the actual scenes themselves are extremely frequent with almost no plot.
Yeah.
Or the content is very intense, dark, quote unquote, non-conventional or triggering.
Yeah.
So that would be like a 5-star or a 5 stars for me. a 5 spice. I mean, let's be honest, it's probably also going to get a 5 stars for me. So why it's important to read, and this is why it's really great that the authors are now including a lot of trigger warnings on the first page.
Yeah.
Read those. It's important. So 4 on the spicy scale would be that the scenes are very frequent, but there's a little bit more plot. So there's more going on. It's not just spicy scene after spicy scene. Also, the spice may still be intense, non-conventional, and or triggering at times, but it's mixed in with what you would call, or what I would consider, quote-unquote, more mainstream spice, like something that most people wouldn't be triggered by. A 3 would be the plot and the spice are balanced.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got kind of a nice little mixture of both. Spicy scenes are more mainstream and have much less potential to be triggering to people. So you're kind of creeping now. Maybe you're creeping away from smut and romance and maybe creeping more into the like romantasy realm.
Yeah.
You're kind of somewhere in the middle. A 2 spice is going to be much more plot than spice. So you're looking at maybe a fantasy book with a couple spicy scenes in it. And I just put scenes are steamy, but they're pretty mainstream in nature. So, like, pretty much anyone could just pick up the book and probably not be triggered by it.
Yeah.
And then a 1 on the spicy scene is that there might be tension, slow burn, but it's closed door romance.
Yeah.
You know, things are happening off the page. Otherwise, it's a pretty tame plot.
Yeah.
Something that has no spice, I literally I don't even put anything. Okay. Like on my ratings, I don't include any. So a 1 means there has to be something. Otherwise, it would just be a 0 from me.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's my summation of my spicy scenes. What do you think? Do you have anything to add to that?
You know, I'll go with that. I like it. You convinced me. It's good. I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll use my spice to that. I feel like it's almost official. I'm not your smut girly, okay? I find myself skimming those parts like that. I just had a DNF audiobook because I couldn't handle listening to it. It's like everybody has different things, and I was just like, I'm trying to wash the dishes here, and this is...
Wait, what was it? What was it?
It was the almond trout lady, and I like the book, but I have to read it because I gotta just skim past these scenes. I don't care. I'm sorry. Everybody likes different stuff. I don't think I'm a smut girly, guys. Like, I don't think
that's fine. That's actually kind of nice because then it's like we get 2 perspectives.
Well, yeah. Or I have to be like really invested in the characters, and this stuff is like just happening at the beginning. It's a fall of ruin and wrath or whatever. You know, and I really like the plot right now. So that's why, like, if I keep listening to it, I will not end up liking it. I just need to be able to skip the parts I want to skip over.
Well, and I mean, to be fair, also, like, there's been plenty of audiobooks that I've returned because I don't like the voices and it ruins the smut.
Yeah.
So it definitely depends on the voice actors as well.
That's
especially
part of it.
With smut.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it too. And I'm also listening at like 2 times speed. 2 times speed.
So weird.
So it's like
sometimes that can be weird. Like,
So yeah. So yeah. So that is, I just don't, overall though, even when I'm reading books and stuff, I'm just like, unless I'm like really interested in the characters and it's built up a lot, then I just don't really care. And I'm just going to like, pfft. So my spice, I just did like a quick spice rating and I like yours better. So I'll go with that. Mine was similar, except like I was confused on what I should do for like 1 spice level. So yeah, I like yours of just putting 0 spice if there's no spice, slow burn to nowhere, and tension, but nothing happens. Like just cutesy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Feel good with that.
Yeah. There has to be some spice to get to a 1. Like there, otherwise it's a 0.
0.
It just is what it is.
0 spice. It's good.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense. All right. So now we want to talk about some controversial, unpopular opinions when it comes to review styles, rankings, all of that, because there was a viral book talk, Insta reel, whatever you want to call it, of somebody saying, and I wouldn't put that person on blast anyways. You guys, you might have seen it if you're on Bookstagram and stuff, but somebody was saying that you should never give a book less than 3 stars because the author tried their best. Like that's a loose, like, paraphrasing what she said. But like that got a lot of us. I would have even stitched that too if it hadn't already been done so many times. She got told what she needed to be told, because for me, I disagree with that, because I don't think you get a participation star. Like, I don't, like you said, like
they chose to publish it. This is not, like they chose to publish it. That's like, I own a business. That's like saying no one can rate my business lower than 3 stars because I tried.
You tried your best. You paid the rent. Like, come on. No. And like, what if there's people, if you, I short circuit on things like this. Like you said, you've given 1 star ever. Like, come on. That has to be really, really shouldn't have been published anyways. Also, I don't think anybody should dictate that, first of all, how people want to rate. You guys might have different ratings systems than us, and that's totally okay, I just think that 2 stars are probably the most frequent of the lower of the 2. And I think that's fine. Yeah. If something compelled you enough to give it only 2 stars, I would say the only part where it gets into like, and then it's a totally different area, is that if you're just going to give something 2 stars because you already hate this author and you're going into that book and you're just looking for problems, well, okay, whatever. But like...
Yeah, but like, okay, this is what it comes down to for me. You write a book, you published it.
Yeah.
You gotta be okay with now people are gonna rate it how they rate it. Are there gonna be people who are gonna come out who are gonna rate it 2 stars or 1 star who haven't even read it and they're just gonna do that because they're haters? Probably. Yeah. But that's the risk that you put yourself in when you put yourself out there creating something in the world. Yeah. Oh well.
In what industry would that opinion take? Like, I come from the makeup world. You do too. When has somebody said, you can't say this concealer is bad because somebody was in the lab making it? It's like, no.
And they tried.
I know. I mean, that's a big company and these are authors, struggling authors, and it's their art, and art can be subjective. But at the end of the day, it's not like a picture on a wall. Books still have a rhythm and a rhyme to them, They're not just...
Well, I mean, even a picture on a wall. If you're gonna paint a painting and put it up in the museum, you got to be cool with someone not liking it.
True. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think that opinion is wrong. You can rate 1 stars, 2 stars, and be valid in your feeling, man. Crazy. I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, that's funny. Just give everyone a 5 star.
Yeah. Or it's 3. Fine. She's basically saying you have to give a 3 star if you didn't like it. And I'm like, no, because that's the problem that we come up a lot in book club, because we're not picking books based on what we want to read. We're picking books based on what the community wants, right? So it's not always our first choice. Sometimes we come across books that we don't love. And the star rating's always like so high because I think people are afraid to give low stars. Oh, I think when you go in and you just rate things higher than you probably would, it messes up the freaking rating system, because then people are thinking, I don't know why I'm not liking this book. It has like 4.5 stars all the time, every single book, every book that when we were picking our ick books, like I'm reading some that I'm like, these seem like they are very problematic, and it would still be 4.5 stars. And I'm just like, I just feel like that's not possible, but whatever.
Well, I mean, you have to think too, though, with a lot of the small indie authors, there's probably only maybe, let's say there's 5,000 reviews. A lot of those people are probably really into that very specific niche of book.
Yeah.
So they are going to rate it higher, or they know the author, or do you know what I mean?
Which brings you into the next unpopular opinion, I think. Maybe not the next one on our list, but it segues to that.
Oh, are you talking about ARC readers? Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so I can speak to this because I ARC read for a couple different PR companies. So, listen, this brings up like an issue of ethics. It really does. Because, we may not be getting paid necessarily to read books, but we are getting free books. Yeah. Which is kind of like getting paid. So, do I think that ARC reading is unethical? No, I definitely don't think so. But do I think that it skews reviews more towards the positive? I definitely do.
Yeah.
Because if an author is going out of their way to send you their book for free, you're already going to have, something in your mind that favors them for you. And like I said, I can speak to that personally because it's a lot harder for me to sit there and think about rating a review or a book really low if I know this author. I've talked to them on Instagram. They're super kind to me. They sent me their book for free.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? Just like jab the knife in and just like twist it around on this book that they worked really hard on. You know what I mean? So I think that, having fully honest reviews when it comes to ARC rating can also be really hard. I know that some of the companies, just basically say don't review it at all if you're going to rate it lower than a 3-star. So
what could you do in that? I'm not an ARC reader, so because I'm scared for that exact reason. It's a lot of pressure because it's very humanized, right? And then maybe that's where the person's coming from in the less than 3-star, realm. I don't know if they're an author or what, but like, would you email the author and be like, oh, these are the issues that I'm having, or?
You could, so in like my case, the places that I go through are like a third party that kind of handles marketing for them. You would talk to them about it and they would have you essentially just omit a review altogether. Yeah. So you wouldn't give it a positive review or a negative review. You just choose not to review it. You could write a post about it saying like, thank you for sending this to me. This is what the plot was about, but then not give it an actual formal review. Yeah. So that's an option. So then that way you're not skewing the reviews in one way or the other. You're just eliminating your opinion from the mix. Yeah. Which I think is the most ethical way to handle that situation.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, I mean, that's tough. It's definitely tough. Because I feel like it is really hard to be like, ooh, I really didn't like your book, but you're a really nice person and you've been so nice to me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's hard to separate those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that goes in any industry
that's
too.
That's what you sign up for. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It's true. So, okay, what else do we have? Let's see.
Okay. This is a good one that I feel like people talk about a lot. People have very polarizing opinions on this. Is rating a book that you DNF. Oh, So, the DNF, for those that don't know, that's do not finish. Or cannot finish. Gosh, sometimes. Cannot. Don't have it in me.
I'm really curious. Ashley and I don't talk about these things ahead of time. Yeah. I'm really curious to hear your opinion on this because I have a very strong opinion about it.
I do not like to rate a book that I do not finish because things can change. I will say, like, I'm not liking it or whatever because, again, like, there's different stuff for different people. I want the conversation to happen about the book. Like, in book club, we have a lot of people that don't DNF books. And they just say, like, why they're DNFing it. I think that's great. I don't get mad if somebody's going to rate it, whatever. But at the end of the day. But, like, for me personally, I don't feel right rating something without completely finishing it. So, what do you feel?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely do not think that it is right to rate something in any formal capacity. If you want to talk about it all day long, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
If you're actually going on and rating books that you have not finished, I don't think that that's very cool. Because you're right. Like, things can change. A lot can take turns in books, as we all know. You don't have all the information. Yeah. So how are you giving it an appropriate rating?
Well, especially like in the fantasy genre, so much of the beginning is going to be boring world building because it's necessary. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people will DNF things. It's like, I couldn't get into it. And you for me, it's like, just don't rate it because the things don't start happening until 40% in or whatever. Because you have to deal with, it's like the prologue, you got to deal with that to kind of get to the meat of the bone. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. I completely agree with you, though. I think if you haven't finished a book, it's not very fair to
I wish there was, because a lot of times people just want to be able, like, on Goodreads to just say, okay, this is why I'm DNFing it, and, putting at the top that they're DNFing it, which I do appreciate doing that at least. But I wish there was a way to do that without giving a star. Like saying, incomplete. Yeah. And this is why. This is why I'm not completing it, Mm-hmm. Because I've seen 3 stars for DNF. But it's like, but you don't know.
That's weird.
You know?
So I was talking to my husband last night about this exact topic. And he felt very strongly. Because I just decided to ask him, right? Just to get another opinion. He doesn't even really read, but he felt like there should be an option, exactly what you're saying, to rate something a DNF so that it is accounted for in the overall percentage or scale.
Yeah, because I want to know how many people had to stop reading it because they just they couldn't go on, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to click that tab and read why. What made you stop reading this book? I would love that.
Yeah.
Can you make that happen, Amazon and Goodreads? Because I know you're watching.
Yeah. Please watch.
I know, Jeff Bezos. Get on it. Because you care so much about the community.
Seriously, though. Like, I really feel like that makes the most sense in my opinion, because I don't feel like you should give something a 1 to 5 star if you haven't finished it, but to have a DNF option would make a lot more sense.
Solve that problem, for sure. Because I understand people wanting to say, like, hey, like, I get that. Like, this is what was wrong with it and why I stopped. But they can't put their hat into the ring, if that's the saying, without giving it a star of some sort. Yeah. So it's tricky. It's a tricky one. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right.
So I think the last one was just sharing negative reviews on social media.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, me too. If you guys follow me, I'm okay with it. I don't know. My philosophy, just to like quote Manny MUA, because I've always loved this. If you don't like it, don't look at it.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good one.
And and I feel like that stuck with me for, the entirety pretty much of my makeup career since I started watching him. It's like one of the most useful things I think that I've carried with me this whole time. If you don't like it, don't look at it. If it bothers you that I rate books honestly, which means sometimes giving them a low review, then I'm probably not the account for you, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. There's plenty of accounts out there that only leave positive stuff, and we like to make a joke of it too. We're gonna have a laugh. It's not that serious.
Like, am I gonna be an a-hole and tag the author? No. Am I going
there's
to
that.
say...
I definitely haven't, I didn't tag Leah Bardugo or whatever anytime I was ranting about Chinobone. I didn't tag the Cruel Prince lady when I was complaining about his tail. I'm not going to, because that's fine. Like, it's just silly. Like, even, if I make a joke of something that I do like, I'm not going to tag them just to, we're not here to make fun of people.
No. I mean, we are, but not really, Yeah. But we're not here to be jerks about it. Like, we're not going out of our way to make sure that these authors see it, especially if they're smaller authors. Honestly, Lee Bardugo probably wouldn't give a crap. You know what I mean? Yeah. But
she got that Netflix money now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she's doing fine. She's going to cry all the way to the bank about that.
Yeah, but I think it's yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
But I do... Yeah, so I think that there's a line there, too, where it's like, in my reviews, I'm also trying to review things in a way that is respectful. So even though I don't necessarily like the book and I found that there was a lot of issues with it, I'm also not going out of my way to be a jerk in my review either.
Right, and you mentioned, just like I do, we want to try to keep an open mind to different people that will like it, If you like this category, you'll probably enjoy this. If you love smut, vampires... Court of Vampire
Might be
Queens
for you.
You know? Yeah. We're going to dog on it a little bit because it's funny to do. But at the end of the day, if you like it, that's great too. And we try to put that anytime we're talking about reviews too with things. But we will say if we don't like something for sure. And we're okay with you guys doing it too. So feel freedom to do that. Just as long as I think you're not being a jerk about it, it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think about all these different things. We'd be curious to hear everyone's opinions.
And if you have any other unpopular opinions, because we'll keep it rolling.
Yeah. Should we wrap it up with a smash or pass?
Yeah, baby. Smashy passy.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first today?
In a previous episode, you asked me about Captain Jack Sparrow. Yeah. So I want to know Davy Jones. Yes, the octopus face man.
That's a hard pass.
We found a pass for you. I can't remember if we found one yet. Oh, good.
I don't know either. I don't remember. But no, I can't. Sorry.
Okay. How about who's the guy? Okay, who's the Spaniard? Javier Bardugo. He plays Javier. I don't remember. It's the last.
Javier Bardem.
Is that how I say it?
Yeah,
okay, I love him.
Bardugo. We're back to Shadow and Bone. Yes, I love him too.
Is he in that?
Yeah.
In Shadow and Bone?
No. It's Lee Bardugo. It's like you mix them into one person.
Okay, that's what it is. I was like, wow, I missed that. Okay. Anyways, okay, what about that guy when he's that guy?
I don't remember.
Although, like, half his face is falling off, so I don't know.
Yeah, who does he play? I don't even remember who he plays.
It's been a while
since I've watched him.
He has a good voice.
He's a good Spaniard.
He is. He's a good Spaniard.
Yeah. Yeah, because I just put up that poll, remember, that had him in it for all the guys from Dune.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I called him Spanish Daddy. That's what it was. I was like, what was I calling him?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember who he plays. I don't remember his character, so I feel like I can't.
He's Davy. He's not. No. Davy Jones is the octopus guy. He's in the most recent Pirates. His name is. He's the. I don't remember.
Yeah, I feel like I can't make an educated.
Somebody's yelling
decision.
at the radio right now. It's this name. I'm like,
I know. I'm just gonna say Smash because it's him.
Yeah, it's like the Hunt situation. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm undecided on octopus face. I'm gonna
really
just because
hold on. No,
skin tails. It's skin tails on his face. It's skin tails on his face. Pass. Abort. Pass.
That's why I was like, I don't understand.
I thought more about it, and
these are literally tentacles.
It's just his personality. Yeah, but pass. Yeah, pass. Because it's slimy and it's all over his face, and there's suction cups involved, and I'm not into it. But he's he's that like dark, like, he's playing the piano, and he's like, moody, and he's sad, and his heart's broken, and you're like, oh, poor guy, but don't touch me though.
Yeah. Maybe in a different.
If I was an octopus.
If you were an octopus.
If you were a turtle. Yeah. Hey, we never got an answer for that one in our icks. You never answered Ninja Turtle. Smash or pass?
I don't really know enough about the Ninja Turtles I really don't. Like, I wasn't, here's a weird fact about me. I wasn't allowed to watch them when I was a kid because they were too violent.
Oh, wow. Even I was allowed to watch that one.
So I'm going to say, like, is there like a dark broody one?
Yeah, for sure.
Which one is that? Do you know?
Probably the blue one.
The blue. Okay, then we'll say Smash the blue one.
Two of them have attitude. So, yeah.
Well, not attitude,
no, but like broody, like broody attitude. Yeah.
Like broody, but like alpha.
Yeah, for sure. I don't remember which one.
Okay, then that one's fine. But like, I never really watched them, so I can't really speak to that. But I would say yes if there's someone that fits that description.
All right, cool. See, it's about personality when it comes down to it.
Yeah, if I was a turtle.
For sure. If I was an octopus. Okay.
And then I'm assuming it's a yes for you on Javier Bardem.
Oh, see, missing half his face, it's hard.
Just put like a Phantom of the Opera mask on him.
Smash, yeah. Wear a mask, Smash. He's like half blown up. He just needs to just come stand by me and just talk, and we're good.
Yeah,
it's his voice.
Yeah, he needs to. Oh my gosh, he needs to like narrate books.
Maybe he does. We should look that up.
We should look it up.
That'd be great. Okay, your Smash or Pass.
We digress.
Tangent
okay, mine's
City over
super
here.
random. I know, mine's random just like yours is random. It just popped into my head and I had to know. Yeah. Okay, so Smash or Pass, Tarzan, you can choose the animated or the live action.
I never saw
Who is a Skarsgård?
Hang on, I never saw the live action.
Oh,
so I gotta look that up.
I mean, it's Alexander Skarsgård, so I'm giving you
I
kind
don't
of an
know,
easy
though. One. Tarzan has always kind of grossed me out. He's like misshapen. I don't know any other word.
What?
The animated one like makes me uncomfortable. His body. His toes really freak me out. You know? He hunches a lot because he thinks he's a gorilla.
He was raised by gorillas.
I'm gonna say pass on the animated. Also, I feel like he probably stinks, and I can't get with that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me look at. Oh, that face. Absolutely pass on the live action one.
Really? That shocks me. No. You're not a Eric Northman gorilla.
I don't even know these names that you're saying to me.
That's who they'll know. It's who Alexander Skarsgård plays in why am I blanking out on what it's called? It's a vampire show on HBO, True Blood.
Oh, is he the other one? Not the Damien guy?
He's like the
True Blood. I was thinking of the other thing.
True Blood is the Sookie Stackhouse ones. Yeah. He's like one of the main vampires in that.
I like live under a rock when it comes to shows and movies, man. Terrible.
So you're a no on both.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm undecided on the animated one because I haven't seen it in a long time. It popped up on my feed for some reason, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea. That's funny. Weird." But yeah, live action Smash. It's the Skarsgård.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. They get me.
All right.
So I think that about wraps it up. Thank you for sticking around
to
hear all of our detailed star reviews.
Yes. We love it. Thank you guys for choosing to listen to us. Taking time out of your book to hang out. Don't forget to follow, subscribe. Yes. You can rate us or something. Hey, you can give us a star review. But please, nothing under 3 stars.
because we tried real hard.
Through all the technical difficulties. No, also come check us out on Instagram and TikTok. Especially if you want to participate in these fun polls that we put up every weekend after there's some time to marinate on these videos. You can really think about your answer. Smash or pass.
All right.
We'll see you guys later.
And we'll see you next week. We'll see you next time. Or another time.
We can't say see you next Tuesday, huh? But that's when we do episodes. So see you next Tuesday.
So I guess we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.